Sup nerds, I'm Wes.
I'm Tom.
Today we're taking a look at Paris New Eden by Matagot Games.
So this game is surprisingly simple. It's a dice drafting game where the dice that you draft, obviously the face is important, but also where you draft it from is significant. We're going to split up the dice at the very beginning to these 5 different areas. Like I'll draft it, like we'll go around, I'll draft the die because I want this face, but hey, since I took it from this area, I will also get this thing, or I'll also get that thing, or I will also be able to get this token, or whatever. Those dice then, the faces, are used in a, majority wins for draft order on these cards down here. Like, oh, I have 3 yellows, you have 2 yellows, I have more yellows, I pick first, I will choose this yellow card, and we go down the line there. And then after that, there's like a sort of feed your people mechanic to get points, and that's mostly the game. It's really simple.
And there is with the drafting, you have to have that color to draft. So if you don't get any purples, you don't get a purple card and you just miss out on one of the cards in the draft.
Which is also significant because like there are wilds. But
but the wild can only, it basically copies another die.
Right.
But if you just have a wild and no purples, you can't be like, oh, well, this wild's a purple, so I have a chance. You have to have a die of the actual color for the wild to become that die.
Which I think I kind of missed that the first time I played, and we didn't play with that rule. And it made wilds much more valuable.
Yeah.
So anytime a wild was out there, people were like, oh, that's mine, So I see now why they implemented that rule, and it makes sense.
And there are, in addition to the dice that you're bidding with, when you go up here at the top right quadrant, the tokens you pick up basically are dice faces.
Yeah.
To do towards that. So you can get if you don't have any purple die, but you get a purple dude from up here, that can be a purple dude in there. But what's different is that once you buy your card, these flip over to become actual people on that card.
And the people is for the feed your people mechanic. So if we were to do a real brief, this top left here, you get cans of food, which is used for the feed your people mechanic. When you go over there and take a die, you get, like he said, that token that acts as a die now, but then acts as a survivor later. If you come over here, you get these other tokens that are called equipment, and a lot of scoring things, especially these mid-round scoring tiles, have to do with pairs of light-colored survivors. I need a red survivor and a red equipment, or a purple survivor and a purple equipment. Speaking of which, when you come to this area and you pull a die, you get to, and this is probably the coolest one, because there's 3 end-of-round scoring things. Whenever you take a die here, you flip over one and saying, that's not the one that we're going to score this round.
Yeah.
Then the second person comes and takes it and flips the other one over. So, hey, now this is the one that's going to score at the end of the round. And then if you come over there, you draw 3, keep 1.
They're like end game goals.
End game
to get
goals.
Points.
Yeah. So it's really straightforward.
Yeah, that is the whole game. Besides the feed your people, which I know you were saying it's your favorite feed your people.
It's the best one because it's like they're calling it feed your people because that's mostly what it is. Thematically it's what it is, but it's just a track with however many people you have, which you've gained from the cards and from those tokens. That puts your position on the track. Okay, well, if you have anywhere between 16 and 25 people, you will be in this bracket. So you'll need to have 6 food or farmers. Farmers are also a type of people on cards that count as a food. Not because you eat them, but because they make food. And then if you spend that much food, you get that many points. But if you don't, there's no negative.
Yeah.
So it's like a strategy that you could choose, or you could say, you know what, I'm just going to ignore the feed your people thing, get tons and tons of people, and not worry about them, because having a lot of people is points on the end game scoring cards thing, and make sure you get points on this stuff. So you don't have to do
There's no penalty to not feeding them, but there is a benefit to feeding them.
Yeah.
And because of the brackets going up, you can't be like, okay, well, I have 8 feed people. I can feed 6 of them. Feeding 6 people is this many points. You're only eligible for the tier you're on.
Yeah, you have to feed all of your people, otherwise they feel like they don't have enough food.
Yeah, and the other good thing about this track is that there are quite a few end game, or at least I've gotten every game, the end game goal cards that have to do with like having the most people or having the least people.
Or having having the most of one color people, or having at least 2 of each kind of person. One negative that I have for the game is the art and the color choices. The art that's just okay. I don't know. It's just not my jam. There's some cartoony art up here. And actually, I think these are on the board. These look like the wrong type of art because there's The cartoony art is the die faces, and then the realistic art is the survivors. So these goal cards here look like they're constantly pointing at, like this one saying, hey, if you have 3 purple people and 4 green people, but that's talking about survivors, not dice that you have drafted. So that's wrong, right? Like it's pointing at the die face art, but it means the survivor art, right?
It definitely appears to be that way, and it could cause a little bit of confusion, but like, just know that playing this game. I like the artwork, especially like on the board. It's a very colorful, like almost like saturated color in the board that is way more than this game needs, but it does give this game some table presence. And that's probably my biggest negative for the game is sitting down. I thought it was going to be a much bigger game than it was. Like it gave me the feeling of, oh, you've got all these different locations you can go to, and there's dice, and there's buildings you're building, and there's end of game, and there's feeding, and there's equipment. And then it really did come down to just, it's almost just a simple dice drafting game.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely one of the least complicated dice drafting games I've played. Like, we were talking about, we were like listing off, well, how many dice drafting games can we name? Obviously, every roll and write most roll and writes are dice drafting, but those notwithstanding, it's like, so Pulsar, Seasons, Old West Impresario, Sagrada, what's it called? The other Old West Impresario, Pioneer Days. Yeah. Even though I think Sagrada, while it is you are drafting dice, it plays more like a tile placement game because the dice are just your draft.
It's a drafting game.
Well, you're drafting, but the dice, it's all about which dice you place where on your little thing. It feels like it's more of like a tile placement game. The tiles just
so important.
The tiles just happen to be six-sided tiles
that you're drafting. These just happen to be six-sided.
But comparing some Sagrada to this or Seasons or Pulsar or Old West Impresario or Pioneer Days, like all of those other ones, like the dice drafting let you trigger actions and is the base mechanic of like a more Euro-y style game. You know what I mean? I don't know. I feel like those and Sagrada are a little bit different, and roll and writes are a little bit different, even though dice drafting are still in there. But anywho,
I just felt like this game, for me, I wanted it to be a little bit deeper. And I couldn't quite put my finger on what exactly I wanted to add. If it was like, it needs just a little bit more. What is that thing? I don't know. But and maybe it was just the presentation, like said, oh wow, this looks really cool. I want to do more.
Yeah, like if there was another phase, if there was like we get attacked and we have to defend people.
I was just thinking, because it's like post-apocalyptic, if there were like, I don't know, not zombies, but some kind of mutant people that were trying to eat our brains.
And there's wildlings over the wall, and they're going to come and attack us, and we have to bid, or
I wanted a little more, just a little bit more.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. And with what is there, though, it is still a relatively tight game. Like, the decisions do matter, right? Like, there's I could do this, or I could do that, and, I want to get majority on this, and they have 2, and I have 1, but which one am I going to use my wild for? So with the decisions that you have, it's a tight game, and you're not going to be just picking up dice willy-nilly, but you are ultimately trying to get points in like 3 different ways. You've got cards, you've got endgame scoring cards, mid-game scoring cards, and feed your people. But I mean, you can go a route of getting a bunch of those endgame scoring cards. You have like 10 of them in your hand. So then, you have a lot of different things to think about. But you're right, it's not the most complicated game. I'd say it's almost like an intro to dice drafting. Like,
yeah.
I don't know. So if somebody plays Sagrada and then they're like, ooh, I liked that we drafted those dice. You'd be like, ooh, but there can be a lot more to where those dice each die actually triggers a different thing, and then you could use it to buy cards, and then, ooh, what there could be endgame score, and then you throw them this type of thing. But, I mean, I like it. One other negative as it comes to the player colors, because it's like brown, white, and black and gray. It's like this building here is more black than this building is kind of brown.
Which I'm pretty sure are all, like, landmarks in Paris.
Oh, is it? Oh, yeah!
It's the arch, and that's
the Louvre, right? Okay.
And that's the building that has that stuff.
That's a power building. And I didn't realize it at first. I was just like, how do we know what player color is what? Also, if you punch this out, don't throw these tokens away. You can, but they tell you to use those tokens here to block these. But anyways, I liked it. It's not my favorite game of the year. Had a good time with it though. Would recommend.
And my wife liked it, and she's not a gamer.
And my sister liked it, and she's not a gamer. Same person.
But she sat down, we taught her the rules in like 5 minutes, and she beat me, lost to Tom.
Yeah, and she also thought, she was like, at first she was like, wow, this is like you're trying to teach me, the game from Parks and Rec.
Cones of Dunshire.
Cones of Dunshire. But then I was like, after the first round, you'll get it. And she totally did.
Absolutely. So if you're looking for a simple intro level dice drafting game, definitely check out Paris New Eden. We'll have a purchase link in the description box down below.
And while you're down there, don't forget to subscribe to our channel so you'll never be bored. Ba-boom.